I don't know how these things work. It's my first book.
Yeah.
And they told me there's like a portal. And I was like, ooh, a portal? Like I have yet to find a portal that I haven't taken an interest in, you know?
Right.
So like, it was like the morning after the launch day, I log into the portal and it's like 6 copies. I'm like, I turned to my husband. I'm like, yeah, this is wrong. It says 6. Like, I don't know what the hell's going on with this. I'm like already refreshing it. Wow. And he's like, you gotta put that away and take a week. Don't check that for a week.
Sleep with me, you know you should. Trust me, child, it feels so good. Bleed with me, and you'll see that I am all the things you need.
Welcome to the Small Bow Podcast, where we expand the definition of recovery. We talk about things related to mental illness, love, sex, food, debt. Today, we're talking about, the internet and the emotional sobriety in the internet, which is a column that we run on the Small Bow. Try to do it once a month, but I've been slacking. But today, one of the first and best people that we had to do that column is Kathryn Jezer-Morton, who writes the column Brooding for the New York Magazine and has a new book out talking about all this stuff called The Story of Your Life. Where's the of? Oh, there it is.
It's down here.
Got it. Yeah. But do we talk about anything else today? We also talked about joy and grief too, right? A little bit.
We did. Yes.
That's when we got into it. I really thought you'd cry, but then it didn't happen for me. So I failed.
I wish I was the kind of person who could cry on a Zoom. Yeah. Maybe I'll get there.
Yeah. Well, that's why you should have come in,
That's
I mean, have you cried at any interview so far?
No, but I think I might. If I do, it'll be awesome.
Shane Gillis. That's where you should cry.
Oh, so destabilizing for Shane. If I cried, I would feel terrible.
Just cry the entire time. There you go.
In
There's a viral
crisis.
Yeah, exactly. So I wanted to kind of define for our listeners, viewers, what emotional sobriety is, and this is the best definition that I saw, which is it's the ability to feel and manage all human emotions without turning to drugs, alcohol, or bad habits like the internet or the phone or all the things you talk about in your book. So, this is basically just like, so you're kind of not taken out of the world. You're not escaping.
Yeah.
Right. This has had to be very difficult for you to do this. Write this book, basically just like, know that there are a lot of kind of danger zones in this like culture that we created. And then you have to kind of engage in it to basically promote the book, right? A little bit.
Yeah. And I'm not proud to admit this, but like I didn't really anticipate this stage. I didn't think about it. Even like, a couple months ago, I was seeing like people are making reels about their work, like journalist writers are like doing a lot of short form video and it's cool. And I'm like watching it. I'm like, man, this is pretty good. Like, and I was like, I don't think I can do this. Like, right. I don't think I'm going to be able to do this part.
Yeah.
And I was like, I could have thought of this ahead of time. I could have like really prepared for this.
Yeah.
And I found myself just not able to like feel good about it and feel excited about it. And so I was like, if I'm going to try to do it, it's going to look bad and I'm going to look like I'm having a bad time. And so it's just probably not worth it.
Yeah. Why did you call the story of your life and not why? Did you come up with that title, basically?
Why did I come up with that title? At first, I think I was going to call it something like The Good Stuff, something a little bit more like glib about how like this is the thing that we're always chasing or like seeking to experience or seeking to capture. And then we're kind of making these life stories out of these like little, the good stuff sort of traces that we managed to kind of accumulate in our digital world. And I think that just started to feel a little bit almost disingenuous because really I'm really just interested in like how this communication technology that we use it's not only what we use to tell our life stories, but then it is kind of shaping and giving like flavor to the stories themselves.
Yeah.
Like social media itself, it's telling the story with us. We're telling the story through it, and it's really influencing how we tell it. So I think I felt like it was a little bit more straightforward. Like, we're storytelling here. This is what we're doing. We're storytelling. And I think also some people don't think, or a lot of people don't think about social media on those terms anymore. People aren't like, this is me telling my story. They're like, no, I'm posting. Like, but,
yeah. I mean, I interpreted it. I felt like it was a warning, is just like how I interpreted that title. You know? I don't know. I mean, when I was telling Julianne, my wife, that I was talking to you, and I was talking to you about this in particular. And I was just like, there's so many people who go through this process of self-promotion and get lost in it and get anxious about it. And I was just like, I've spoken to you before, and I read Brooding, and we've interacted on email, and you obviously, did the emotional sobriety and the internet interview for Small Bow. I was like, she's kind of solid. I don't think she gets kind of just rattled by this shit for some reason. And true, false? I mean, you kind of hinting that you do, but I mean,
yeah, I would say I do get rattled by it. I really try super hard to play it cool. I'm very committed to projecting a persona of someone who wouldn't get rattled. Like, that's really important that people think that about me.
It works. Believe me.
I'm really glad to hear that. I put the work into that. But I would say, if I'm being totally honest, I find it increasingly hard. Like, I think that I used to have really a good time using social media. And I think it was because I really saw it as like a place to like experiment with the persona that I was trying to build. Like, I'm a writer and I'm trying to be a little bit funny. And I really was like, this is a creative outlet for me, and I enjoy it. And I think that that's changed as it's just become more of a commercial enterprise. And I feel that there are people who are potentially being like either just people, haters, or people who are like, as you get to a certain number of people, and there inevitably are just going to be people that are like, well, she is doing it wrong for these reasons. And this is pretty normal. Like, I think this is just what people deal with. But I don't have a very, like, I can't just dismiss that out of hand. It definitely affects me. And also, I have to say, like, as I'm getting older, like, I'm 43. I'm almost 44. And like, only in the last couple of years, and I think it's because I have like a kid who's almost 16.
Yeah.
So I'm like, and it's changing my whole perception of who I am in the world to be like the mom of a teenager. I'm like, those parents of teenagers are old. Like, you're not like a young parent anymore.
Yeah.
And I'm just feeling like, I'm capable of being embarrassing and stupid and like totally like tone deaf and just getting it wrong in a way that I don't think that maybe I'm just, it's dawning on me that like I am really able to do that without realizing it. And it's startling me and making me feel like I need to say less. Like, writing a book is great because you're alone and you have a long time. And I found it a really, really like a wonderful process where I felt like I could really be myself.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, this rules. Like, I can say whatever I want. Also, like, I write this column every 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And it's like, you got to get in and out of a topic in like 2,000 words max. So there's only so much I can say. It's this kind of pressure to just keep it clean.
Yeah.
And in the book, I'm like, I don't have to keep it clean. I can meander. And like, some of the feedback, the like reviews of my book have been like, she meanders. And I'm like, yeah, I fucking do. Like, this time, like, that was on purpose.
Yeah.
Because I never get to meander. Like, I love meandering.
Did you read the reviews? So you've read the reviews and all that stuff like that? Oh, dude,
of course I read the reviews.
Oh, New York Times did it, right? 100%.
Yeah. I read the New York Times review. I thought I was happy with that. I settled into a feeling of satisfaction, but also like, what are they going to say? It's like the best book ever? No, like it's fine. I was happy with that. Like, gratitude time.
As I'm like dipping into it, because I'm like pulling stuff out. I'm pulling stuff, prepping for this, but I'm also going down. I'm reading it like How to Do Nothing by Jenny Odell. I think there are a lot of similarities to it.
That's the kindest thing you could possibly say to me. It's one of my favorite books of all time.
Me too. And I think it has like similar tones to it in terms of just like, you are like taking about this from like an academic perspective at the same time, but then your own personal life, and then just observing other people at the same time and informing yourself too. But I look at it and I'm like, man, 5 years from now, how do you think that you're going to have to write a completely different book because it's going to change so rapidly, right? I mean,
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not going to stand the test of time like How to Do Nothing. I thought about that a lot. And I even, like at the beginning stages of it, people were like, are you sure you want to write about social media? Like, it's just, it's a moving target. Like by the time you publish it, it's going to be out of date. Like, why would you do that? And I think I was just like, listen, this is what I have to talk about. I have things that I've been thinking about for years. I'm just going to say them. I realize this is not like going to be, because I do think How to Do Nothing has this kind of really eternal quality where it could be read, you know, decades from now. Like it's like a contemporary classic.
Yeah.
I didn't really set out to write a book like that because I know that things are going to change. And I do kind of see this book as like, we're closing the door on the posting era.
Yeah.
I think it's behind us. I think we're kind of, it's like a bit of a, let's look back at the last 20 years because what's coming is a different set of behaviors and we don't really know what they are yet, but it's going to be different.
Yeah. I mean, there's that, did you see that Mad Men episode when they're like pitching the people about the carousel at all?
Oh, dude. Oh, yeah. Of course.
So I was thinking of that too, like while I was reading it, where I was just like, oh, it's kind of capturing that. And I think that's what people are thinking that posting on social media is.
Yes.
But it's not. It's actually stealing your soul a little bit each time, I think.
Yeah. No, that's funny. You know, I didn't think of that, but that's so the carousel episode and the kind of the emotional valence of like that project of, you know, creating the story of the family. I think that's right. And I think that maybe at the, you know, 15 years ago when people were making their little Facebook albums, they were sort of doing that. And they were like, this is us. Like, this is our trip to the Cape. And it's just, it's curdled into something that is of a different quality altogether.
Yeah. I mean, I get like every summer I get for like the last 4 years, I would say, like since my kids have been of age where they like to go on airplanes now. And I look at Instagram and I'm like, fuck, I should have taken my kids to Rome. I realize I'm poisoned by this, that I am comparing and despairing. It's impossible not to. And it's impossible to kind of do it in a way, because I have a personal account and then I have a small bow account, right? And those are two separate worlds, obviously. But all the time, probably now since I've been doing this, once a month I'll be like, should I make my personal account public, not private? I need to go public. I need to be a more public person. I need to show my kids doing fun stuff, me doing dad shit, whatever. Like, I'm thinking about that in a way, which is just crazy because I know exactly that that's not something I want to do at all.
Yeah.
But I feel the pressure to do it, you know?
Do you think that if you did that, if you took your account public, you would like, maybe just for a little while, like do more cool dad shit?
Yeah.
Because you'd be like, this is now we're doing this on the big screen.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
Your kids might kind of be like, this is cool. Like they might sort of like it.
They have this thing because my son, who's like, you know, our oldest is 9 and is on YouTube watching baseball highlights or baseball card openings, and hopefully that's it. But, you know, I go in there and I always forget how long he spent on the phone because I got the 2 other ones too. And they're on screens.
Right. Oh, yeah. It's very hard to keep track.
Well, it is. And then it's also like keeping track of the screens. And I understand, like, you know, when I know when there's too many people on screens, when our internet is very slow and I get like the buffering things because they're like 7 people, even the dogs are on it, basically. Right. And I have to tell them, like, we have this rule with Ozzy, just like not, you know, because he's the type of kid that is just like, oh, let me check the phone while I'm watching. Let me check the highlights of the thing that I'm watching on baseball like that. And I'm like, that's such a bad habit. And he's like, well, you do it all the time. And I'm like, okay, I do, right? I mean, we have terrible internet habits. Like, you know, both, you know, Julianne does, and she'll admit that. I mean, she's better than I am. But I wake up, I check my Instagram reels to see how my stupid fucking reel's doing on like the podcast episode. And then I check my email to see if anyone's saying nice shit about me, about like the small bow. And then, I go and check, what's the other thing that I check constantly? Oh, my fantasy baseball team. And then
Well,
I'm
that's
like,
not about you though. That's for fun. I condone that.
it's a drug. It's a drug still.
Okay.
I absolutely see it that way. I mean, it's just like I escape in that, right? And I'm on it. And then I do the Scrabble thing.
I do that shit too. I do connections.
I do, Wordle in the morning. I'm on like a Wordle thread. But my point is that I am constantly on this. Like most of the joy that I'm trying to access is from my devices now, right?
Yeah. Yes.
It's probably 60%, I would say, which is a bad number to have, right? And I asked you the last time we talked, like, what was the longest you've gone without the phone? I think you told me you were skiing and it gets cold and you would feel weird if you basically just like, lost power and then you couldn't like, ski for checking like that, right?
Yeah. Do you want, are you re-asking me? Have I broken my record?
Yeah.
So yeah, like outdoor activities. Yeah. Skiing is great because the cold kills the iPhone. So if it's really cold out, you can't really have your phone. I also am someone who I can't be on my phone in the car. I get nauseous if I'm not driving. Like I can't read in the car. And when I'm driving, I'm a bit of a boomer. Like I get overwhelmed with the CarPlay and like I don't really want to hear Siri read me my texts and I don't really like to dictate replies.
Yeah, I don't.
And I can't. So like I can listen to music and podcasts and I can have a conversation and that's pretty much the fuck it. So like if I'm driving and I drive, I go to the country, like I just was driving all morning. It's like being on a plane with no Wi-Fi. Like and it's kind of good. I'm out. You can't communicate with me.
Right.
Which is nice. But like, yeah, I really think that for me, what helps me the most is like, I have my husband who is 8 years older than me. I don't mean that in a way that is uncharitable to him. I just think he's a bit more of a Gen Xer than I am.
Yeah.
And he's not a phone guy. Like he doesn't use social media. And he's also a Virgo like myself. We're both Virgos, as is one of our children. And I'm not like into astrology, but I do believe that there's this like deeply judgmental, like self-loathing quality. We're very hard on ourselves. And that's bad. And that's what my therapist said. That was a really bad thing. But I also think it's kind of helpful. And I just feel very judged by him. And he's very judgmental. Like he'll just be like, he'll also like, if I'm on my phone and he's talking to me, he'll just stop talking and wait until I'm done. And that makes me feel really self-conscious.
I want to be
because he's right. He's like, you can't hear what I'm saying. You don't know what I'm saying to you right now. And you're pretending you're listening. And I'm like, that's completely true. I really can't do both of these things at once. And so that I would say, as much as it embarrasses me and it makes me feel bad about myself, I think it's probably what's keeping me kind of like sane is the social pressure that's coming from inside of my house. And I think if I was married to someone who was as bad as me, I would really, really I would suffer a lot more.
Yeah.
So I'm happy to suffer the self-loathing.
Right.
I think I talked about this in that interview now that I remember. But I also think like going outside, nature is helpful. Like I feel very gross being on my phone, like in the woods. Like, you know what I mean? Like if I'm on a hike, I can't, I feel really sick about it. So that's good. Like I try to be outside and that's like helpful for me, but not everyone has access to the woods.
No.
Like, it's not easy for everyone. And I don't know. I wanted to ask you though, like in your household, like, do you guys like get on each other about this or do you just let each other be? Are you like, you guys, like everyone has their thing that they have to do?
This is what I started doing when any of them asked for my phone, because I'll let them have my phone for, 20 minutes or so, because it helps us get a break, honestly. But we have to do a 1-minute meditation before then,
Oh,
I know. So we do like the 1-minute meditation. All the little ones are cool with it. They like it. My oldest, like, he's a real dick about it right now. Just like, it's a 57-second meditation. He's always trying to kind of barter. Just like, I'll do 30 seconds. I'm like, it's 57 seconds.
No. Come on. So do you like put a timer on and you're like, just sit here?
Well, I do the Insight timer. It's a guided meditation. We sit there, and it doesn't matter where we are. I don't make him get on the pillows and stuff like that. I mean, my daughter loves to do it, but him, I'm just like, wherever we are, before you take that phone, we're doing the meditation first.
Well, that's cool.
I think it's a good move.
That's like righteous.
Yeah. Well, and because someone was telling me, it was like, can you imagine when your kids grow up and someone asks them how long you've been meditating, and they'll say 6, right? Basically, and I'm just like, oh man, I'm that guy. Yeah.
There was something that I was thinking about ahead of this podcast, because I wasn't sure exactly what we were going to talk about, but there's this book that I read a long time ago, and I picked it back up recently. It's by a dude. So this book. It's called Cutting Through Spiritual Materialism by Chogyam Trungpa, who is the founder of the Shambhala Buddhist movement.
Right.
He was like, for those who know, like, sexual misconduct, a lot of like not great vibes around Shambhala, but also a very cool organization that produced a lot of amazing books and whatever. So just, disclaimer. But so this is a disclaimer. This is an amazing book. And it talks about, basically he wrote it because he was like, he came to, Boulder, he founded the Naropa Institute, and he was teaching all these Western people about Buddhism. And like, as soon as he got started, he was like, oh, wow, like, you guys have this thing that you do where you just try to win at everything. Like, and it's just your way. Like, it's not that you're like super fucked up. It's just this your culture. And so like, when you're becoming Buddhists, you're approaching it in this way where you're just trying to use it as a self-improvement tool. And that's like not how that works. And so this is like a series of talks where he's like, guys, you got to try to think about it in a different way. Like, let's just think this through. Yeah. And it's so kind of sympathetic and humane.
Right.
And it's amazing. And he talks about at the beginning, the kind of the bureaucratic aspect of the ego. Like, the ego is this sort of bureaucrat, and it's like it wants to kind of manage and take chart and take accounting of everything. And I really think of my phone use, I think of social media as like this perfect, like a tool, like an Excel suite of tools, whatever. Microsoft Office for the little egomaniacal bureaucrat within. Because it's like, oh, but you got to check up on everything. Got to see how, and there's endless work to do, you know, got to see how that reel is performing, got to see what people are saying. And then I've got to look at the other people and I got to check up on them. And you have like files and sub-files in your own mind. I mean, what I always find so amazing is like how much data I have in my mind passively just about social media and other people and what they're up to. Like, I retain fucking everything.
Great.
It's crazy. It's not great. It's useless. It's just like other people's trips, like, oh, where that person's summers. Like, I don't want to know that. I shouldn't know that. And I do eventually forget because the capacity is limited. But like, it's just this kind of little workspace for like the work of ego. And anyway, meditation is obviously like one of the great ways of trying to cut through that, so to speak. But for me, like, social media's effect on my like emotional life is that it really activates that bureaucrat. I think it always has, and it's a real struggle for me.
Do you have an ego? Is it raging?
I mean,
is it? Because you seem competitive. Is that like
I'm competitive?
Yeah, because I mean, it's also when we first started talking too. When I was amazed just that you hadn't really done any sort of like real professional writing at that point. You had this very high profile column in New York Mag, right? And you also live in Montreal. And I'm like, are you separate from kind of like the New York media competition thing? Because that's an energy. It is, and it's not healthy. Energy. It's not healthy either. But no. Do you find yourself, like, the more popular the column became, do you feel like you're part of that now, or you need to be a part of it?
A little bit, maybe. Like, I did write a column before this in like 2015 I wrote a column for Jezebel about parenting.
Yeah.
But it was like a year and a half. And again, I was in Montreal, and it was kind of a fluke that I got it. And then after that, I didn't do anything for like a number of years, really, just a little here and there. Yeah, I feel so fortunate to not live in New York City, because I think I would be completely consumed with all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like I am a candidate for all the competitive kind of like, just the horse race of it all, keeping track of other people's success.
Uh-huh.
That would be me. And I think living here just limits my exposure to it. And even though I know where everyone vacations because of Instagram, I don't really know the details of like people's deals, who people are represented by.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know about that stuff, and I don't want to know. I don't want to know. It to me feels like it would make me into a more unhappy person.
I've actually fixed that part of me. I'm not very competitive when it comes to career stuff anymore. My identity is more kind of the real home life sort of stuff. And recovery is obviously partially my job now, a little bit too. But I have no desire to become kind of a recovery influencer. Sorry. But
is that what you're really supposed to be doing?
Well,
I think that's what everyone's pushing you to do.
Well, there's an opportunity there, right? To be that person, especially in a way. I think the way that I do it, also coming from, this public disgrace sort of version of things too, and knowing the media like I know it, right?
It's interesting. Like in my book, I talk about like how everyone loves like a redemption narrative and like a triumphant overcoming narrative, which is really interesting. Like, because it puts like sobriety and recovery narratives in real tension to me, because on the one hand, and you've talked about this, like you could really lean into like just the culture loves a thing of like, it was bad and now it's good.
Mm-hmm.
And it loves it when it gets better and better and better. But then you get into a deeply sick situation where it's like, it has to keep getting better. Otherwise it's shit. Like our line of progress needs to be upward. Whereas, in real life and in terms of people who really are, well and often like happy in their lives, it's often like much more of a kind of a flat type of thing. And there's this pressure. Like I was talking to the Galaxy Brain podcast the other day about how 30 years ago or whatever, you could have like a family business, like a hardware store or whatever, and it would just be in business. And the expectation was that people would pay themselves, but you weren't gonna get rich, right?
Yeah.
It was just the business that keeps all of these people surviving.
Yes.
And now it's like, you can't have that kind of business. You have to be scaling all the time.
Right.
And then in that process of scaling is where it's just the risk of failure and of like, I think like personal like feelings of kind of real ambivalence really get to be kind of risky. So it's like, with the sobriety narrative or with the narrative of like recovery at all, it's like it's better now, but it's what the small boat does is so interesting to me is like really embraces the fact that it's going to be all kinds of things. It's not just about the like, marathon finish feeling.
Yeah.
But that does kind of go against like the spirit of enterprise that we live in.
I know. It's like I've been having a lot of trouble. We've got like the compilation book coming out in January, which is most of the other essays that are not written by me. I've got like one essay in there, but everyone else's thing. And it's supposed to be kind of our answer to the big book. So it's the small book. So it's everyone else's stuff. But with my own personal memoir, and I've had a lot of trouble with this because I keep lapsing into the voice of basically, self-doubt and incrimination. I mean, it's all been negative. And I found myself, especially just like the most challenging part to write about was the trial, is the trial. Because I'm like, man, I know it's the easiest thing to Google about me. It really is. But I feel so disconnected from it at the same time. And I feel like I need to be an authority on that part, and I'm not, right?
Huh.
And, I've been talking with the editors about this, about how to kind of just solve that problem. And I think the best way for me to do it is almost just like, have a little bit of kind of, grace and compassion for that person that was there, just given what I know now, right? And it has nothing to do with any of the major players in it. Like I don't care about Peter Thiel. I don't care about Nick or just what the impact was on journalism and things. I can't write about that with any sort of scope or seriousness to it. And I just had to kind of just get used to that idea and relieve myself of that pressure to have an answer for this, right? Because I was so removed from it.
It's really challenging. I mean, because I think that probably because it's so hard to talk about, like any kind of small breakthrough could probably be very, very satisfying. And I bet the writing would be really good.
That's the most, and I don't know if you experienced this too, but I mean, it wasn't the writing that's been the challenge so far. I can write pretty consistently and pretty well. I mean, I can bang out some words per day. Anytime I had a breakthrough, that would fuck me up. Because then
you couldn't write.
I would have to go and basically be like, oh man, I thought this was the end. Now this is the beginning. Like I've had that a couple times. That's happened. And I think I'm in a good space with it now. But I mean, at the same time, it's like, there are these rooms that I'm entering into that I didn't want to, right? And I feel like I know I have to. I know it's better for the overall scope of the book, scope of the book. But I mean, for me, this is also like, I don't feel recovered right now. I don't feel like this is a benefit to my recovery at all. But I think that going back to, that's the part about why people do how to stay sober during whatever dry January, all that sort of shit, right? I think that's why people lapse into it, because if you really go dark constantly, if you're really constantly digging into this stuff, it brings up all bad feelings. Like I've had days, I had a couple days where I just laid down on the floor with my face on it because I was like, man, this is too much. This is like something, this feels like what, it makes the temperature in the room change. It really kind of just takes me out of the day. It takes me out of everything.
Wow. I mean, I find that very compelling. So it's so gross to like your narrative of suffering is such a compelling narrative to me as a consumer of information. But like what I really like is like when we tear apart this idea that it's all gonna, we're like, again, we're on this sort of teleology of growth. Like you're going to go through this, you're going to lie on the floor, and then you're going to come up with something so good. Like, I think that's such bullshit. Like, I really think so much of the time it's like you're going to lie on the floor, it's going to feel like shit, and then you're going to get up and you're going to go, you're going to make dinner, and then it's going to be the next day. And
it's
nothing,
the next day. Yeah.
Nothing will have come from it.
I know.
You won't have a feeling of like, wow, like that was worth it. Like, I'm glad I did that. You're just like, I got through it.
No. Yeah.
And to me, I believe in that. Like, that's the truth to me. And I like hearing those kinds of stories.
Yeah.
I don't hear them enough. Like that's what I'm like obsessed with. Like, tell me stories about how something was hard and then it kind of dissipated, but you weren't redeemed or reborn and you didn't learn a valuable lesson.
Right.
Because I'm going to believe you when you tell me that story. Like and I just feel like there's so much bullshit about, and I think this bullshit about how suffering is good for us. It's like part of like a like a culture of like, it's like you're trying to enforce compliance to like a very unequal society. So it's like, no, suffering's good. It's good. It's actually really good for you. Like, embrace it. It's like, nah, dude, sometimes it just sucks.
No,
and
I mean, that's the thing. It's just, but I mean, I don't think it's ever going to be good. I think there's a way to do it better, right? I mean, I think there's a way to suffer like better and make it productive. I absolutely kind of subscribe to that for sure.
Yes. Yes.
The thing that I realized was that, I have to be very, very careful about, causing my own suffering. while writing this, right? Which is just ultimately the thing that has been historically very bad for me, right? I love to torture myself. I love to kind of create problems for myself. I love to just like spend way too much money. I love to do and I'm reaching for all of those things in the process of writing it too. But, when you're doing this book, like how personal was it for you? Because it feels like that, you were both kind of an authority on a lot of this stuff, and you worked very, very hard to kind of understand this and really translate this and kind of talk about this in a way, which, using your big brain and, your PhD, like, and all that stuff. And then there's this personal part of you, which I think you're going to fall into in the promotion of this. And then it's also just like, okay, are you going to look at your book sales? Are you going to kind of measure?
Dude, I already have 100%. Yes. No. Don't for 1 second think that I abstain from that kind of thing. No, I looked at it like the morning, because I don't know how these things work. It's my first book.
Yeah.
And they told me there's like a portal. And I was like, ooh, a portal? Like I have yet to find a portal that I haven't taken an interest in,
Right.
So like it was like the morning after the launch day, and I was staying with my friend in Williamsburg, and I open up my laptop, I log into the portal, and it's like 6 copies. And
nice.
I'm like, this can't, and listen, it's obviously not accurate. I have more than 6 friends that I know bought it.
Yeah.
But I'm like, I turn to my husband, I'm like, yeah, this is wrong. It says 6. Like, I don't know what the hell's going on with this. I'm like already refreshing it. Wow. And he's like, you gotta put that away and take a week. Don't check that for a week.
Yeah.
Like, just please do yourself that favor. And I was like, okay. Like, I don't have like a habit. I have not formed a habit with this particular portal yet. I can easily just say a week and then we'll have a look. No, for sure I'm gonna look. But as far as like the question of the personal, when I started out, like I kind of had to like unlearn a lot of my academic training with this book, because I didn't want to write a boring book. I didn't want to write a dry book, but everything that I had been taught for like the 6 years prior to writing it was, from my supervisor, my PhD supervisor, this dude Bart, who's a really like good guy, but he's a sociologist, and he was just like, you have to do science. Science is the only way. Like, you have to erase yourself. None of your like voicey little chit chat. And he was kind of like, he had my number a little bit. And he's like, you're a little voicey little chit chatter. Like, you like to put yourself in there, don't you? Like, you can't help yourself. Like, this is sociology. You let the data do the talking. Like, shut your mouth. And I really, and I was like,
sounds like a real dick. Wow. Geez.
No, I'm giving him a mean character. He's like a little bit of a Gen X, like, he was like my slightly dismissive Gen X older brother in my imagination.
Yeah.
Where he was just like, like you think you're so cool, like you're not. And it was good for me because I did have a little bit of an inflated ego. I had a sense of myself as a writer, and I was at this like university, huge university, and he was just like, you know what, like take your place. Like you're in a cohort of students, like just. And I think I really needed that. So anyway, I was like, I'm going to write some engaging social science where I'm going to interview a lot of people and I'm going to write in an engaging way. Right. But fundamentally, this is a work of sociology. And then my editor at Viking was like, the coolest parts of this are when you talk for one paragraph about your childhood on the commune. Do you think you could expand that a little bit? And I was like, oh, but like, that's really kind of like what I'm trying to be different than that. And I'm trying to do this thing that like social scientists would respect me for. I think I was really still seeking the approval of like these people who had been, who I was trying to have approve me for the last 6 years. And anyway, she just kept pushing me, and she's like, let's just hear more from, let's look at a little bit more of that. And even like, other people would read it and they'd be like, the best part is when you're describing the driveway of the commune with all the old cars in the driveway. Could we zoom in on the driveway of the commune, please? And just like crowd out some of this, like, theory talk. So I kind of realized that I think that it's interesting for people. It gives people an emotional way of connecting to the material. And then also like I have my own, I think, sort of unresolved issues with the way that I grew up. There's a chapter in the book where I go back to the commune at the end, and I speak at length with Veranda, who is kind of like my commune mom. It's the end of the book. Veranda Porch, that's not the name that her family gave her. She gave herself that name.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like in her 80s. And I love talking to her, and I wrote about it. And at the time I was like, ooh, that felt good. It felt like I was doing some work where I was like I was just being honest about how I feel about my life. And it felt really good. I was like, ooh, like, wow, I did not realize I was going to be doing this with this project and like writing about myself. And now actually like Veranda hasn't read it yet. I don't think she's reading it right now. And I'm like terrified of having upset or angered her. Like I'm like literally thinking about Veranda all the time because I've never written about someone like the internet is different. It goes away. Everyone forgets about it. I'm like, I put her in a chapter and like, was that a horrible act of hubris? Like, what if she isn't happy with what I wrote? How will I ever like, I'm like, when she and I talk, it's going to be anyway. So that's how I'm struggling to handle having written about my actual life.
Yeah.
Because it implicates other people.
I know.
And that's like, some people I think have an easy time with that, not me. But yeah, I would say ultimately writing about my own life in this book felt good. And I'm glad I was pushed to do it. I think the book is less boring because of it. I believe that. So
what are you going to do? What are you going to do after like this push and this promotion of the book? I mean, do you feel like you're going to like kind of you're going to change probably? I mean,
Yeah, that's a great question. I mean, I'm a teacher at a college, so like I just go back to work and I'm just going to be working my normal job. And there's something so comforting about that to me too.
Yeah.
As a person who struggles with my like writerly ego and with my like public persona,
right?
Just going into a big college and having a bunch of 17-year-olds who like don't give a shit what I say.
Yeah.
Like that's probably the like healthiest thing professionally in my life, like going to teach and just being like, I just got to get you guys to like take an interest in this topic.
Right.
And it's so hard. It's like so humbling and like, that's real good. I wrote this viral column at the beginning of the year about like friction maxing.
Yeah.
Friction maxing. It really like, it like took off or whatever. And it was like an obvious thing to write a second book about. And I've been in deep struggles with that.
Right.
Because I'm like, I was talking to Amanda Hess the other day and she was like, I can see that book at a library, at a airport. Like, she's like, you should just do it. Like, it's just like kind of a no-brainer. But I'm like, I do feel as though there's an opportunity for me to like think differently or do something different. And I want to make sure I give myself that opportunity. And I like, don't know if this book is going to just funnel me into the exact same. And also there's the thing of like developing the persona of the like, guys, like everything that you're doing like, you don't even understand the way you're doing it and allow me to explain, which is kind of what I'm doing in this book. I'm kind of being
Dr.
like
Becky.
Social media. A little bit. Like, it's like, did you guys realize that it's a storytelling technology? And did you guys also realize that it has like value systems embedded in it that are like not great for you? Like, not sure if you knew, but allow me to demonstrate. Like, it's very know-it-all behavior that obviously like you have to take on some of that when you're writing a fucking book of nonfiction, but like to do it again and then be like friction maxing. Did you guys know that like, our reliance on like convenience culture is actually like, it's just like, I'm like, I hate that woman. Like, I don't want to be her. Like, she sucks. So like, I have some thinking to do about that.
I mean, I think it's just like giving back to just seeing what the definition of kind of emotional sobriety is that I subscribe to, because I mean, it's like, a lot of the time I always get to a point where I try to like, do self-promotion and it makes me deeply uncomfortable in a way. It's not because of shyness. It's more because I'm just like, I know my ego can kind of blow up and I can just become obsessed about this stuff. obsessed about kind of the success of it and just like how I'm perceived. And you think that's necessary? Like, do you need that like sort of self-promotion gene, like that influencer sort of kind of just like?
I think about that a lot. And I sometimes in my mind, this is like, I'm going to tell on myself, whatever. I think about like, I'll think of a really successful writer who I admire and I'll be like, did they have that? Like, I can't believe they would have that. Like,
I know.
Patrick Radden Keefe.
Yeah.
Does he have that? Like, is that part of his thing?
Uh-huh.
Because maybe he's just hella, is it? Okay. Well, that makes me feel better. I don't know.
Because he is, you associate, you know what his book is about and you know the type of books that he writes, right? And I mean, I think that he's been positioned that way and he's said, okay, well, I feel comfortable being that person, right?
Right. He's comfortable with it.
Yeah.
And he isn't like, he did an ad for J. Crew. Like he's not shy about, taking some money and doing a little thing. But like, I live in Montreal, as you guys know, and like, I'm not surrounded by people who are like big attention seeking folks. Like I have a couple friends like that, musicians. I have like musician friends, or mostly my friends, not really writers. And it's like, you kind of allow musicians that. You're like, well, you're like a stage person and like, that's your thing. And like, we like that in our musicians. In writers, it's a little more icky. And so I don't know that many other people personally really who do that self-promotion thing. And I'm like, is this just part of the reason why I was able to write a book and have it published and like people are reading it? It's not just that I had a good idea and that I was lucky enough to, blah, blah, blah. But it's partly that I have this like sickness that like makes me, push for myself and be like, remember me? Like, I'm this guy, like I have created a persona. You recognize it, don't you? Like, and I think it is a little bit like, I think that's part of it. I think it is because there are really talented people who don't see a big audience. And I think it's because they don't really have the instinct for putting the pieces together. And unfortunately, putting the pieces together is fucking brain sickness. Because it's like, I'm going to figure out why you like me. I'm going to do a little like A/B testing on my personality very subtly over the course of many years. In my case, like using social media. I'm going to figure out the stuff that works. And then I'm just going to do more of that stuff. Like, to me, it's like, it's literally second nature. Like it's walking and talking. And I think that for a lot of people, that's totally, they would never even think to do that.
No, you're completely psychotic.
I'm just saying it's deep within. And like, you try to like keep it under control, but I have that.
Clearly. I saw that the first time we talked, and I saw that kind of just the way that your column was starting to develop. Because why couldn't you be Malcolm Gladwell, right? About this sort of particular kind of just, corner of like the culture. I mean, in some ways.
Do you mean Malcolm Gladwell insofar as he's really successful or is he really annoying? Okay. Right. Yes.
Well,
he's also Canadian.
Yeah. Oh, well, there you go. But I mean, he has a look about him that is basically crafted. I mean, he's basically, there's a persona, like that became business, right? In its own way. Yeah. Like none of that becomes crafted. And if you have the instinct to kind of do that and feeling like you can do that, is that dangerous at all for you?
It feels like part of what's dangerous for me is that maybe I'll not have an easy time being satisfied, or I'll not be able to be like, this is enough. And I'm going to have to keep trying to do better. And that's, and like, as I so kind of like self-importantly say, like, that sucks. Like, don't do that. Don't seek perpetual growth. Like, that's not that's not like the ticket to happiness. And like, what if I can't help myself?
You know that, like, and yet there's still this other part of it. But I mean, I think this would be an interesting sort of exercise in terms of just like how you promote this book. I think you should go into the portal once a week and then post your book sales.
No, no. That's like, has anyone ever done that? It would be a first.
It would be a first, but I mean, it's also just, it will show so much about kind of your vulnerability. Also just like, the industry is like, here's how hard I worked on this and here what the results are that I have no control over, right? I mean, It's just like, I think everyone instinctively, if you write a book and you basically get reviewed by the Times and then, everybody's happy and like outsiders think you're successful. But I mean, just ultimately, it takes so much more. There are people that, I do look at and I'm like, oh, what the fuck does Rich Roll do, right? When did he make that decision to be, handsome, influencer, sober, run super marathon guy, right? Like, which are all choices. He's making those choices. It's not all him, right? I mean, that was crafted and cultivated over time. And then it's basically just like, oh, this works. Look how many people responded to this, I'll do more of that and I'll sharpen it and hone it and that will become part of who I am. That'll become, dare I say, the brand, right? So is the brand the most dangerous part of this whole entire thing? Because that's kind of what this is all about, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think it is definitely the most dangerous part of this whole kind of thing, this whole thing. I think the brand is the trap that you fall into and you can't get out. And it's like, and it's also, people will tell you that it's totally necessary. You'll start to believe that it's totally necessary. Yes. You'll castigate yourself for failing to uphold its rules. I mean, it's really not easy. Like, I think, my dad was a writer. He was represented by Frances Golden, who was this like great agent in New York. She's long passed. But my dad has a really severe speech impediment. Like he stuttered really badly. So he couldn't do any promo. Like he did no promotion. And he loved, like, I think he would have loved to. I think probably not being able to made it seem all the more like appealing. And at the beginning of this process where the book was coming out and the like inquiries about doing interviews and stuff were coming in, I told myself the story. I was like, do it for Dad. Dad couldn't do it, so I'm going to do it for him. And he would be so proud of me. Like, it's like, he's smiling through from the other side. And that was pretty fucking weird. Like, I told myself that story for like a week. And then I was like, ew. Like,
no, I wish you'd post that.
I'm doing it. Yeah. I don't think I'm doing it for Dad. I think I'm doing it for this guy. Like, let's be honest about who this is really for. And like I really had to take a minute with that. But I think it's easy. It's easy to like get really swept up in like, it's something to do a good job at. It's something to apply yourself to, and and then it just creates its own logic.
Right. What do you think we could say during this interview that would generate like the most kind of engagement for both of our sort of projects here?
Okay, let's get down to business here.
I mean, if we could cut, because I don't have thoughts about how to do this. I'm completely because it's funny, because you get into the podcasting world now, and it's basically just like, well, you got to fucking get a famous person to cry, basically, on this sort of show, right? That's it. Yeah. That's the formula that works, right? Or someone talking about their kids. Bob Odenkirk talking to Mike Birbiglia about like, oh, this is the people I'm jealous of. It's the parents that have little kids at home. And I'm like, I can watch it 50 million times. And I'll be like, every single time it gets better. Like, I had one, the thing that has done the best for us is when I had my friend Peaceful John on, who's not a celebrity, who was talking about grief, right? And it goes everywhere, right?
Wow.
And then in my head, I'm just like, well, we got to fucking talk about grief all the time. This is a grief show now, right?
We got to double down on grief.
Got to double down on grief, right? So, and the question that I asked Peaceful John was, how do I grieve and not drown?
That's a great question.
I'm asking you.
Okay, well.
Think of a great answer.
God. I love that question. So, I mean, for those who don't, like, both of my parents died relatively young, just of cancer, nothing like dramatic. And I'm an only child. I'm like a person with maybe like a small family. So I've thought a lot about grief. I've given it a lot of thought. I haven't written about it very much. I mean, for me personally, I think that grief has given me a lot of like noticing capacity. I think it's enhanced my ability to experience the world in a way. And it's active grief and it's noticing. And this is just the luck of like, my parents were very kind of, they were both outdoor. They were interested in and participated in nature. So like even last night I was actually at my stepfather's house, my mom's widower, and now he's remarried. And we took a walk in Vermont in the woods at dusk. And I was just like awash, like my sensory capacity to notice smells and sounds and have these smells and sounds and sights like really transport me back into a previous part of my life where I was with the people that I loved. It's very heightened for me. Like I was like, man, this is really feels good. And I'm so glad I can do this. And so for me, it is the ability to notice your own life and think about how the sources of your grief, kind of just give you more ability to appreciate. And appreciate's the wrong word. I don't like appreciate. Just notice. Be alive in your own life.
Yeah.
Because isn't that so much of what we're all just trying to do? We're just trying to be alive in our own lives, feel what it feels like to be ourselves in a way that feels a relatively unguarded.
Right.
Like to be available for the feelings. And I don't think I have, like, when I'm having these sensory experiences where I'm walking through the woods and I can like hear a sound and I'm like, I can feel like what it's like to be, 9 years old in the presence of one or the other of my parents, or like, just a moment in time, I can really go there. I'm not like overcome like with tears. I don't want everyone around me to know I'm going through that. I'm still, I would say, like fairly guarded, and I keep it as a very private experience, but it's something that is very like valuable to me. And I don't think I had that capacity before I experienced profound grief. I think it gave me that capacity. And I think everyone, it's maybe like kind of your sensory heightening of the senses a little bit.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, now let's do that again for 90 seconds. And can you cry for us a little
Damn
bit?
it. Shit. No, that's my problem.
That's funny though. But it's like if you are going to like go through this process, what, do you have a sense of just like what works and what doesn't at this point in terms of just like how you market this book, how you basically self-promote? Do you go into it with a plan? You seem like a planner.
I'm not a planner at all. Not a planner. No plans, no nothing. I don't even have like a list of topics for the future columns. I just go week by week, not a planner.
Get the fuck out. Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
No, I think for me, I'm just trying to remind myself, like, I think if I just try to relax, it's so corny, dude. Like, I'm sorry to say this.
Yeah.
If I just act like myself and I pretend that I'm talking to like my friends and my loved ones, like people who I really love, it works out okay.
Yeah.
Like, because I loosen up. I think you can't be too uptight. You can't be too loose. Also, like, I do think our age, we're a little, I'm not trying to say we're old, but like there are a lot of people in their 20s and 30s that are also writing books and promoting them. And I think that it's harder when you're younger to take risks and to be loose and to be like, listen, this is me, take it or leave it. And, they are, I think, a lot, they're suffering in ways that we can't imagine. And so I really remind myself, like, you can just be cool. And if, probably it'll work out okay.
So last question, how do you access joy?
Gosh. I really love to be alone. And I think it's about noticing. So I just love my perceptive apparatus. I love walking down the street and just noticing people. That gives me enormous joy. Just the capacity to find patterns in the world, notice what people are doing, eavesdrop on conversations, be like, oh yeah, that's that kind of guy. I just love that. That's when I'm alone. And I love then just like being around the people that are close to me and noticing them. And I just think that's what everybody wants. I want to be noticed in that way. I like noticed with great tenderness.
Yeah.
And I don't do it maybe even that much. But when I do it, I feel enormous joy and satisfaction when I can manage to do it.
Yeah. So you said notice for grief and joy.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it works both ways because I think for me, they're really connected. I feel enormous joy sometimes right as I'm feeling enormous grief. Like I feel them very, very close together.
This is the winner. This is the one right here.
We got there.
Well, this is amazing. Thank you so much for doing this.
It was really fun. Thanks so much for having me. It was awesome. I just really appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. We'll talk soon, hopefully.
Okay. Take care, dude.